everybody, it's Trash Panda. Normally I don't make these kind of videos, but I've been thinking about it for a while and I think it's about time that I talk about it. Life is an extremely strange phenomenon that it's hard to not sit down and ponder upon the thought, why are we here to begin with? Personally, I find myself thinking about this a lot, so I think I might as well share some of my thoughts about it. When presented with these thoughts, most, if not all, people would turn to religion, facing and praying to an all-knowing, omniscient God. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are the most prominent examples of religions that follow these molds. Usually people that follow these religions have a moral compass that points them in the right direction for their lifespan, generally living a long, happy, fulfilled life that they can say was worth lived. But what about life itself? Looking away from the end, straying from death and onto the living. Why does it seem so slow yet so fast at the same time? I personally can't answer these questions because I'm not a scientist nor am I a psychologist, but the experiences I have on this earth must be caused from something. It may very well just be me, but the world itself seems to move very slow. When I wake up in the morning, I typically check my phone and I eat breakfast, and if not, I cook some for my loved ones. On a day that I have school, I will get ready and head straight for school without actually eating breakfast. This is usually where it starts to slow down the most for me. The tasks I carry out afterwards are very repetitive and same day today. Go to 7 classes, do work in them, come home, do homework, play video games, and then guitar, and then go to bed. Where I'll then repeat this process until I graduate. School will then be replaced with work and then homework with bills. A cycle that is very rarely broken, and when it is broken it's simply replaced by something else. When you've repeated the loop enough times you begin to wonder, why continue the loop? As depressing as it may seem, everything is simply meaningless in the long term in the eyes of millions. We're simply animals that are too self-conscious. The only thing that separates us from the other organisms on this planet is the fact that we will comprehend the fact that we will inevitably die. And to break it down further, we're just water and minerals organized in such a way that we become a living creature. It's simply beautiful and elegant how it works, but pointless overall. The actions of a person who live an average life will rarely, if not never, affect the life of another average person. Now all this seems very depressing to most people, including myself, so to get around that, we fill the void with commodities and hobbies. Personally, I fill the time with video games and guitar since, like most people nowadays, I don't have too many friends. But even with all these distractions, deadlines, and anxieties will still grow greater and greater as time moves on. Some days this deadline feels like a myth and a mere legend, and other days feels almost like it's the next day. Time seems to be slowing down in portions where my daily and weekly routines come into play, but when it comes to life as a whole, the deadline feels a lot closer than I'm comfortable with. It feels like not only is it getting closer every day, but it's also becoming faster with each hour. Some days are so meaningless, they're even forgotten in only days. For some people, this can become so strong that it becomes anxiety-inducing, almost a disorder, if not actually becoming a disorder. The feeling that you are simply watching from a third-person perspective with no control ahead. You know how to move your body, but the end itself cannot be changed. You're scared of what is to come. You feel out of control, and to put it simply, useless. This is a disorder called depersonalization, and it is strong yet common. With the normalization of drug abuse and usage becoming more popular in the day and age of the internet, poisoning the brain of the young and children, and even the adults, these feelings are becoming more and more popular against everyday people. As with many people, including myself, this becomes a raising eye and a concern. So what do we do? From the perspective of scientists and professionals, and even myself, time feels like it's speeding up because we're not learning and living to the fullest that we can. Things that are similar to TikTok and immediate gratification can ruin the attention span of someone without them even noticing. The first thing we can try to do is use less social media and focus more on personal achievements and goals. Instead of coming home and watching TikTok for 4 hours straight, maybe take a piano class or a learning cooking class online. I personally play guitar with most of my time off, and I am generally playing for about 2 to 3 hours a day depending on how tired I may be. What about life slowing down? What can we do to make the more boring parts seem more interesting? The first thing I generally try doing is meditating for a few minutes and clear my mind of anxiety so I can focus on the task at hand. If that doesn't suit you, then maybe try make a challenge out of the task. If you're studying for an up-and-coming test, maybe make it a challenge to get the highest score out of all your classmates, or strive to be the most useful worker in your team. The time won't drag by as much and you might actually enjoy yourself a little bit. All in all, life is slow in some points and speeding by in others, depending on how you spend it, and it can go either which way depending on that. Since today's subject was kind of depressing compared to my normal content, I probably won't be making much of this style of content. But either way, I hope you enjoy, and remember boys, skate fast and eat trash.